Welcome. I'm your host, Dustin. And today, I'm doing a solo little review here. It's going to be spoiler free. I wanted to put this out earlier, but I wanted to wait to make sure everybody else who was able to see this movie early got the chance to watch it early. And for those of you who are waiting for it to come out, it's coming out this week. So the movie that we are talking about, or I'm talking about today, as spoiler free as I possibly can be, is Evil Dead Rise. And I have to give a huge thank you to Broke Horror Fan. Alex, you are the man. You invited me out to this for a free event, and it was awesome. I got some cool things to bring home, which I'll show you guys right now. Mom's Linguini. It says Al Deadite perfection in 90 minutes, which I think is so cool. Like little gummies and stuff. They're like sour gummies essentially. I haven't opened them yet. And then this badass poster. So for anybody who is watching this with video, you guys get to see that stuff. But I got a poster and a little take me home thing. That's really cool. Little gummies, some souvenirs. I don't think I'm gonna open up the gummies. Maybe I will. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, seriously, Alex, thank you so much for inviting me out to this event. It was super fun. The audience was pretty cool. It wasn't a super packed theater, but there was plenty of people in there. I think it was probably about half capacity, which is pretty damn cool, to be honest. And where I was able to be seated was really cool. So yeah, seriously, thank you so much, Alex, at Broke Horror Fan. So guys, make sure you go check out what he does. He does a lot of cool things for us horror fans and just movie geeks in general. He gives you guys rundowns on things that are marked down in prices, like movies, toys, and stuff like that. And he's a busy guy, but he does a lot of really cool things. So go say thank you to him. But getting back to Evil Dead Rise, as spoiler free as I can make it, and this isn't going to be a long episode at all. Dean and I are going to do a full deep dive into this, but I wanted to do this one solo so I could get it out in time. Dean wants to watch the movie again before he does another review, which I agree. I'm definitely going to go see this again. I'm going to buy a ticket and everything, go support this film as much as I can. But getting right down to it, it was given a high praise from Bruce Campbell himself, saying that this was the scariest Evil Dead ever, essentially. And I do have to kind of hand it to that. It does have a bit more of a serious tone than even like the 2013 Evil Dead had, even though this does have some 2013 isms in there. But it also has a lot of the classic stuff. It's got like everything in here. It's got its comedy, it's got its horror, it's got its gore. And like Lee, even in the beginning of the film for the screening I was at, was saying, if you guys are into gore, this movie, this is for you for sure. And he did not, let us down on that because there's a lot of really cool things that happen in here with special effects, and a lot of it I could tell was practical. And I have to hand it to the team for doing this. I know this was a really small budget film, just like how pretty much all the other Evil Dead movies have been, except for, I guess we could count out Army of Darkness. They still had a small budget, but it was bigger than all the other ones that they made. But for what they did in this film, for the amount that they have used, I'm not 100% sure as to what the full amount was for creating this film. We'll dive into all that stuff when we do a full deep dive on here, and we'll go through the cast and everything later on. But right now I'm just kind of spitballing and let you guys know my thoughts on the Evil Dead Rise. It's definitely, I think, ranking so far in all the Evil Dead movies, it goes Evil Dead 2, and then I'm honestly gonna go and say Evil Dead Rise. So this is my second favorite out of the whole franchise series, world, whatever you want to call it. So I guess I can give you my full list of how it goes. So it goes Evil Dead 2, it's gonna go Evil Dead Rise, Evil Dead, then Army of Darkness, just because Army of Darkness has such a close relationship to me because of how many times I've seen it and growing up as a kid. So that's why it's still there. And then it will be 2013. But I always have said this to friends and people who I talk to on Twitter or whatever, maybe who are horror fans. I still believe that the Evil Dead world, with the show and everything else, it's one of the more solid franchises series out there. It's kind of like with what's the other one, Chucky. So like the Child's Play series, I've always thought that was a really solid one, and this is another one that's super duper solid. They don't really miss at all, regardless of like what Bruce Campbell or Sam Raimi say after the fact of like, oh my god, it was such a mess on set. But as a viewer, this is such a solid series franchise that I don't think they could ever really mess up because of how crazy the first one is and the lore that's with this series. But let's get back to Evil Dead Rise. There's a lot of creepy moments in it. Really, really good. There's the way that the mom can like use her face to make things so creepy is so cool. I've been seeing this a lot more with films of late, of a lot of people using more of their face to enhance things, or to fully rely on how their face is and to express things more with their face than with their body. I mean, there's a lot of really cool things that she does with her body too. The way that she walks and when she turns and how she turns is really, really cool. This movie also has like a big family dynamic. It's very family. It's family as family can get, in my opinion. And the way that we get fleshed out for all the characters, it's very fast. Very, very fast. This movie is pretty damn quick. You get pretty comfortable with all of the kids and the sister and the mom very, very quickly. Very quickly. And there's other characters that come in and out that are in like the same apartment area where they're living. So there's other characters. They're not huge like members in this film. It's all pretty much family, and that's it. And the series of events of how it happens, it's not slow, but it's slow enough for you to understand the characters and to build a relationship with them. And I really, really like that, because there's far too many movies out there that throw in like a family or a group of friends and you don't get to know them at all, and they just die immediately. So you don't really get a chance to understand or feel bad for these characters when things happen to them, because most of the time, like writers, directors, they just kind of cut right to the chase. But this one, they really take the time for you to feel for these characters and to know where they stand. And I love it. I love this movie, and I was so happy to see it in a theater before it came out, and to kind of understand the reactions of how everybody was feeling in the audience. And there was a lot of laughter for this film, and there are some pretty comical moments. Like as I was saying earlier on, this definitely has its fair share of the comedic side and the horror side, and even I guess a little bit of the fantasy side. There's just a little bit of it. So that's where like the Army of Darkness kind of comes in, but it's really, really fun, really, 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 really fun. So I have to say, if you have a chance to go and see this when it comes out, or if you've already seen it due to an early release, Dean was super lucky because he went to an early screening and Lee was there doing a Q&A. And I think Dean actually has a video up on his YouTube about the before and after of him seeing Evil Dead Rise, and he loves this film. He loves it. So I'm so excited to go and take a deep dive with him on this. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool things. The effects are great. The use of lighting in this movie is really, really cool. Because this isn't really a spoiler, but there's like a moment where they lose power in the apartment building that they're in, and then they have to use lights and candles and stuff, and it just looks beautiful. Looks super duper beautiful. And of course, the Book of the Dead is there, and it's not a spoiler. Book of Dead's there, so if anybody's wondering if it's going to make a return or how this is going to happen, is it going to be like the aftermath of 2013 or anything like that? No, this is kind of like still, I think, a standalone. I don't think this really will tie in too much with any of the other Evil Dead movies. It seemed like they were trying to really be their own thing, but you could definitely draw like connections to previous films, with how they kind of talk about the Book of the Dead and when it's being played and whatnot and how it's being played. I guess you could really draw to how it was in the previous films or whatever it may be. But yeah, it was a super fun film, very very fun. I can't wait to see it again. I'm definitely seeing it. It's gonna have to be after Salem Horror Fest because I'm going to Salem Horror Fest this week. So maybe I'll go on Monday. After the weekend when I have a break from the festival. I'm so excited to see this again and see it with a whole new theater. I might go see it another like 2 times because I always like to kind of go and test the waters in different theaters around here. Because sometimes one crowd would be more excited than the other one, or it may not be as full as previous showing that I went to go see. But regardless, this is definitely a film that you want to seek out. All the hype surrounding this and whatnot, it definitely lives up to it. I think it definitely lives up to it. This is an Evil Dead movie after waiting 10 years for an Evil Dead film, and for this to, be its own thing. Like seriously, its own thing. Lee did a really, really good job. And everybody else that was in this film did an amazing job because the effects, oh my god, dude. How the Deadites look in this movie is ridiculous. And there goes my camera. I'll just leave it like that for right now. I'm about to end this anyway. But thank you guys for listening to this super duper short, spoiler-free review. I'm not going to give it my rankings or anything like that right now. I'll save that for when we do an actual review with Dean. Don't mind my camera for anybody who is watching this. It's been freaking out a lot lately, and I have a new one hopefully on the way. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this 12-minute spoiler-free review, and we'll catch you on the next one. There's a lot of exciting things coming up this week, so hopefully you guys are going to be tuning in to everything because there's a lot from Salem Horror Fest to other really, really cool things that are coming out for Screambox and whatnot. So thank you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.